Okay.
Yeah, because you were on our live, and so it was just continually showcasing the same thing over and over.
Okay, got
Yeah.
you.
So just stay on whatever we're going to start with our information when we start it, and then we'll go from there. And then
Okay.
I already know a lot about you guys, and really you guys know a lot about what you guys are building. It's extremely unique in the space. So I'm going to let you guys lead and give us the information, showcase this, give us the best information, and I'll just kind of poke in with questions here and there and kind of lead it in the way, to give the good value across the board for our community. But overall, man, you guys have an impressive platform, and you guys are impressive on its own, just from the talks and everything I've seen in the spaces you've been doing and all the marketing. So I'm excited today. Crypto Eagles, welcome to a beautiful Binance Live. Today we have uShark here, the team, and Pompey, one of the I believe teams that are working and alongside as the collaborative startups with the project uShark. So it's just really exciting to see the transparent behind the scenes of what's going on, not just the word, but these guys are showcasing and telling you and showing you the person that's also a part of their utility, the kind of the value proposition and what makes them unique in the space. So I'm really excited to have you today, and without further ado, just give us a small little introduction for our Binance Community Live and for the regions that we're hitting. I want to make sure you guys are well introduced, because you guys are credible in the space, been doing this for a while in the space, been building, and like I was saying, you guys were like a quiet gem in the space, just slowly in the back, methodically taking care of what you thought was a huge value to the space. And it's showcasing right now, and it's really going to be, I think, a step forward to bridging real world assets with Web3 and the finances that kind of are missing the mark for traditional finances, especially for projects out there that don't meet some of the banking requirements. So without further ado, I don't want to go too far on. Just give us a little overview of yourself and then a little bit about the project, and then we can get right into the questions.
Okay. First of all, let me start one more time. I would like to thank you, all members of the Eagle community. We have a pleasure today to have the Mr. Pompeo, one of the great guy that we have the lucky and opportunity to know him, which has a lot of expertise working, supporting, and accelerating and running startups programs. In our case, we are happy because we are nowadays 3 years operation. We launched uShark in 2021. And after this 3 terrible bear market season, we have now some key points and pillars of our business. Like we have a community more than 30,000 investors worldwide. We have engaged the community in our social networks. We have 12 startups from Cyklo Agri-Tech Hub of Acceleration invested with a TVL, which make our project unique. We have also listed in medium-sized exchange like Bitmart, and you are preparing to be listing in the top global exchange of crypto, Binance, Gate, and Max. We are doing pretty well. And now it's the most important point of our time, because we are facing to be in the right spot of the bull run that it's coming after the ETF of Bitcoin is approved in the Security and Exchange Commission in the United States. CFTC, Commodity and Future Trading Commission, also now all the regulators worldwide understand that crypto it's a very powerful application innovation that will never go back. So we are pretty happy today, and we are preparing to go to the best moment of uShark of our 30-year operation. We have for sure a long-term project. We have more than around 90% of our tokens in treasure, preparing to be running for a long-term project. And nowadays, we are glad because we have one of the guys that help us to find good startups to make the business success. Mr. Pompeo, it's a Brazilian guy with a lot of expertise, accelerating startups, supporting startup of agri-business. And I will let him introduce a little bit about himself and let him talk a little bit with our community. He speaks Portuguese, I will be working translating. Pompeu, basicamente eu fiz uma base de como foi o histórico da uShark nos 3 anos, e dizendo que nós tivemos a grande oportunidade e sorte de ter você como uma das pessoas que nos deu a oportunidade de fazer bons investimentos num pool de startups de agro. E eles perguntaram no primeiro momento só uma breve introdução sobre a sua expertise.
Lógico,
sobre você.
É um prazer estar com vocês e realmente muito honrado de participar desse trabalho da uShark.
He said it's a pleasure to be with us and be helping to be working, supporting uShark.
Eu sou um consultor empresarial, já há 40 anos atuando na reorganização de empresas e nos últimos 15 anos trabalhando com desenvolvimento de startups.
He said he's working consulting, like a business consultant for a career for over 40 years. In the last 15 years, he's working precisely and deeply in the startups ecosystem.
Essa aceleradora da qual nós estamos falando, a Cyklo, ela está instalada no Nordeste brasileiro, numa região que chamamos de Matopiba, compõe 4 estados.
Okay, this accelerator that he's the owner is called Cyclo Agritech, is located in the northeast of Brazil in a place called Matopiba. It's a Brazilian slang, and it's a place where we have 4 of Brazilian UF states in that area.
Nós viemos para cá porque há um grande volume de produtores rurais e latifúndios de diversos tipos de cultura. Assim é mais fácil testar e desenvolver as startups.
He said he chose this area because we have a lot of business emerging in agro atmosphere, and it's a better place when he could test and check if the solution of the startups is working pretty well.
Para ter uma ideia da dimensão dessa área, dos 400 milhões de hectares que o Brasil tem que poderiam ser desenvolvidos, nessa região estão 73 milhões de hectares possíveis de trabalhar.
Wow. And he said, just to have an idea, the size of this place, we have more than 70 square feet only for the agro powerful environment, precisely to people work with agro business atmosphere.
Assim sendo, nessa região, nesse ponto vermelho do mapa, né, que nós chamamos de Luiz Eduardo Magalhães, num perímetro de 300, 400 quilômetros, nós vamos encontrar mais de 300 propriedades rurais com as diversas culturas.
And this in this red point that you can see in the map, it's called Luiz Eduardo Magalhães. In this area, you can find around 400 kilometers with more than 300 farms. When Pompeo and his Cyclo and his startups will be able to test their product around these 300 farms. 300 fazendas, não é isso, Pompeo?
Isso mesmo.
Okay.
Culturas, para terminar, culturas como milho, algodão e soja são grandes latifúndios, mas tem um pouco de tudo, cacau, uva, qualquer coisa.
And he said in this area you can find a lot of different emerging solutions in a rural sphere. Can be like soja, can be like grapes, can be a lot of things to export outside of Brazil and needed for self-supply in Brazil.
É isso. Muito obrigado, a introdução é essa aí.
Okay, and he said, thank you guys, and this was his shortly introduction.
Yeah, that was really nice. No, it's really good to see kind of the I would say like I was saying, behind the scenes on how you guys have been building in the background. What you guys have been doing. Like you don't get to see that from teams a lot of times, or what kind of research they did. A lot of times they say they did research, but saying you did research and actually showing the proof and the documents and the data, it shows a lot different cadence on what the team's professionalism and what you guys are bringing to the table comparative to a lot. I mean, I can see right there just from the infographic, it's a lot of information just from page on page, and that shows the preparation that you have already done in order to showcase what you guys are doing, and what you guys have been doing. And that that is different a lot of times in space. It kind of like shows, like you're saying, where you guys are planning to be, the vision you guys plan to be at. And so you have to do this work now. You have to do the hard work now in order to get there later. So I mean, I really do love it. Thank you for that introduction. I can't wait to see how, like you're saying, how everything starts to kind of grow as the financials and stuff starts to pick up and the market starts to pick up, to see the wealth come back into the hard work you guys have been doing. It's pretty exciting. So with that being said, Benjamin, would you like to do a small introduction here and then get us a little bit of understanding on what you do and your role within the company, and then we can start off with a little bit of the questions?
Yes, can be, Benjamin. Yeah, you can make the first question.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Ok, basicamente, Pompeu, uma das primeiras perguntas é...
I'm sorry, I must have been confused. I was gonna, I would lead with the questions that we have. I I was saying, go ahead and give us a little small introduction of yourself. I didn't want you to feel left out. We had Pompeo, we had Geraldo do a good introduction, but you're just sitting there quiet. So I didn't know if maybe you want to just do a small introduction of yourself. Since you're here on the Binance Live, doxing yourself and stuff. Just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, Benjamin. They asking you about yourself and your operation in Brazil in uShark. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. No, that's great. No, it's just good. A lot of people like to just kind of understand a little bit of the team and their vision or what they bring in value. And actually, 6 years in crypto and understanding transaction and blockchains and transparency. If you don't have someone that's helping you lead that and understanding basically a CTO, in an essence in the company, it can be real hard to understand what's going on the blockchain side, especially when a lot of it's just code, and so someone that can actually understand the code and understand the depth of what's going on the blockchain is a huge value. So I appreciate it. That was it. And so, yeah, I appreciate you, introducing a small bit about yourself. But yeah, so like I was saying, I'll go ahead and lead with the questions. And then basically the first question is, you already said, is how long you guys been working with startups? And, because obviously you guys have been working and building since 2021, but, in that time building, how long is that, in that time have you actually been working with these startups?
Ok. Pompeu, basicamente, nesses 15 anos de experiência que você tem de startups, contar um pouco disso, e eu vou contar também que, na verdade, a minha aproximação disso, de startups, veio de um reality que eu fiz lá na Record, e aí, assim que eu terminar, eu passo para você. Basically, guys, for sure, Mr. Pompeu has too much more experience than me in startups, because we worked with this for a long time, but in my case, when the COVID starts, I returned to Brazil after living 12 years in the United States, and I was invited to be working in a reality show similar to Shark Tank. And then I realized how powerful is the startups atmosphere. In this reality, I was working for 2 years, and I could see a lot of opportunities to investment in startups. And unfortunately, I could also see that many emerging countries like South Africa, Brazil, India, China, a lot of startups, it's not easy to access venture capital. Venture capital is easy to access in countries like USA, Canada, and etc. But in emerging countries, not so easy. Then, when I was deeply involved in this reality show, I could see how profitable when you find a good startups to make investment. So in my case, it was only 2 years before I launched uShark. But Pompeu, for sure, has much more experience, and I will let him talk a little bit about that. Pompeu, basicamente, nesses seus 15 anos de experiência com startups, dá um breve resumo sobre assim, pontos que você acha importante, ou o que te fez, desses 40 anos, se voltar para o mercado justamente de aceleração e suporte de startups.
Eu recebi em 2009 um convite da Naspers para assumir uma vice-presidência no Buscapé nessa área de desenvolvimento de novos negócios.
Okay. I received in 2015 an invitation to be a consultant in a system called Maspen to support and understand how to support and work with our startup in that segment. In the famous Brazilian former of a website called Buscapé, was one of the most important marketplaces that we have in Brazil a couple of years ago, and Pompeu was invited to be working with that.
No Buscapé, para fazer o crescimento financeiro que o grupo Naspers pretendia, era preciso criar startups. E aí foi quando eu comecei a me envolver com a criação de startups para poder fazer aquele marketplace gerar mais dinheiro antes e depois de comparar preço.
Okay, and he said when the group Masper invited him to work in Buscapé in startups, his main target was to make the marketplace growth, like a startup growth, but after they would realize the best product fit to the market.
Então, para as pessoas entenderem, meio de pagamento vem depois de comparar preço, release de produto vem antes. Então, se criaram 26 startups antes e depois de comparar preço. e isso é que fez o Buscapé crescer a 750 milhões de reais de faturamento anual.
Okay, and he said after he created his system, when you should understand the marketplace growth, the market fit, and the product, the right price of the product, he created this system, this environment, in this atmosphere in Buscapé, and these startups grow his ROI and his it was making money around 700 million reais during this period. Wow,
Depois que eu saí do Buscapé, aí criei outras aceleradoras. Fiquei entusiasmado de trabalhar com aceleradoras, porque percebi que em 1 ano, 2 anos, você já percebia criação de um novo negócio, do nada.
And he said after his exit he left the Maspin and Buscapé, he decided to create and start working even more with startups, because he said from simply 2 years you could emerge some business from nothing.
Então, criei várias aceleradoras, participei, por exemplo, da aceleradora do Darwin Starter, que é uma aceleradora de fintechs no sul do país, e depois outras de cunho diverso, até em 2019 começar a Cyklo, especificamente para acelerar agritechs.
And he said during this process he was working also in a precisely startups accelerator program called Daffin, and after that and a lot of other accelerators and hubs, and definitely in 2019.
2019.
Yeah, and in 2019 he decided to create Cyklo Agritech, which is precisely specifically for agribusiness. Okay, thank you, Pompeu. Obrigado, Pompeu. Okay, guys.
Awesome. That was extremely in-depth information. Appreciate the answers. Pompeu, I'm sorry that, that I always say I'm sorry that there's a small language barrier, obviously, when we're trying to allocate information, but you guys are doing so well. Like, this is streamlined very good. You guys are very professional. I love it. So we'll move on to our next question, because obviously, you guys have been working with startups, roughly about 12 is from what I've done my research and we've done our talks with. What do you think has the best, I would say, outcome so far as the startups? Which one do you think has the kind of the success rate that you guys have, wanted and has been doing so well so far? And maybe a little bit of what do you think has kind of been the hindrance on some of those other startups that couldn't get to that level?
Okay, the question was which one of the 12 he thinks is the best, right?
Yeah, for the most part, and then I want to get a little bit insight on what you guys think are what kind of held back some of those other startups from getting to that same level.
Ok. Basicamente, Pompeu, no seu ponto de vista, daquele pool de startups, qual delas, no seu ponto de vista, é a que você mais gosta, ou que você acha que tem a melhor aplicação?
Agora seria legal se eu sei que você tirou a apresentação,
voltar a apresentação, né?
Porque ela tem um slide específico sobre isso.
Perfeito, deixa eu voltar aqui. Guys, I will share the screen again, and Mr. Pompeu will be able to explain better sharing the screen. Hold on.
Take the time, community, as we're getting this ready and info up to, jump on their Telegram, join their Twitter, and get on their website, start understanding the information, follow along. Like I always say, your hands-on approach and your visualizing your own research is the best. So as we're telling and showcasing this, don't forget that, their socials, join and get their notifications on, because it's exciting times right now. So go ahead.
Ok, Pompeu, qual slide?
Pode rodar mais um pouquinho, deixa esse próximo slide aí, isso. Então, para o pessoal entender, né, esse fundo que tem as 12 startups, elas foram aceleradas de 2020 a 2021, depois estão passando por um período de maturação e crescimento que vai de 22 a 25, e a gente acredita que é possível ter saídas, ou seja, vender participação das startups entre 26 e 27. Trabalhamos 20 startups nesse período de 2 anos e com o objetivo de ficar com 10 boas, a taxa de sempre 50%. Ficaram 12 boas até agora e eu vou falar sobre elas.
Bacana. He was explaining a little bit with details, very good presentation, but because he explained, this startups pool, he started supporting and making the accelerator program for the years of 2020 and 2021, Then he said the next 3 years, from 2022 to 2025, will be the growth of these startups when it became its solidity. And he believes the exit could be from 2026 and 2027, and he starts with 20 startups in the accelerator program. He would, according to his expertise, should be around 50% of good startups that will keep alive. In this case, we are still with 12 startups in the portfolio.
Isso aí. Aí pode subir um pouquinho, vou falar um pouco de quais as startups que estão mais interessantes.
Okay.
Esse quadro, ele mostra valuation. Para nós, o importante é, à medida que tem um valuation firme da startup, ele é tão importante quanto o faturamento dela. O valuation significa que alguém marcou ela, que alguém, algum fundo, fundo semente, algum player desse mercado de aquisição, foi lá e fez uma oferta forte, comprou um pedaço e deu uma marca de valuation. Então, a gente acompanha esses valores que estão em cima, o valuation dessas startups hoje, e eu vou explicar as melhores eu vou explicar agora.
Okay, he said basically that the most important, before people understand how startups are making money, Mr. Pompeo said that one thing that's important is the valuation. Because with the valuation, it means that some VC, some angel investor, some private equity, someone invest in those startups and make their valuation be better, even than sometimes of startup making money itself. Ok, Pompeu?
Perfeito. Então, esses quadradinhos verdes que estão em volta, por exemplo, da SS Crop, Diox e outras, são startups que já receberam novos investimentos após a aceleração.
Mr. Pompeo said, those startups that you can see, the green framework, like Aproxima Growns, AgriMap, AgroInsight, and etc., those ones are startups which already receiving new investments after the accelerating program.
E que isso é um bom sinal, porque significa ela está ganhando visibilidade no mercado.
And he said it's a good signal that the startups is performing and growing because it received more investments than even the hub investments. It's extra investments. It's a good signal that those startups are performing and growing.
As startups recebem investimento de fundos semente, fundos pré-semente e investidores anjo. Os cheques nessa fase são cheques que vão de 200 até R$1 milhão, R$1,5 milhão.
Okay. He said during this time, those startups receive investments, seed, pre-seed investment, angel investor, and basically the amount of those investments in Brazilian currency should be around 200,000 reais, which means around $40,000, up to 1.5 million of Brazilian reais, which is approximately 400,000 of dollars.
Isso.
Perfeito.
Por exemplo, a Diox recebeu R$1,5 milhão de investimento durante a aceleração, e para eles entenderem, né? Enquanto que outras receberam 500 mil, 300 mil. Né?
Okay, and he said the amount of investments in startups are different according to their needs. For example, the Ox received 1.2 million of reais of investments, another one receive $500,000 reais of investments. To understand that difference, the size of investments in each one.
Então, respondendo a pergunta de quais são as melhores. Sobre o aspecto de crescimento rápido, essas três primeiras, a SS Crop, a Dioxy e a BVL Vida, já tem valuation formal acima de 20 milhões. Quando recebe dinheiro, essas empresas, elas, o fundo que faz o investimento, ele fala, eu vou te dar R$1,5 milhão por 10%. Ele está avaliando a empresa em 15 milhões, e assim por diante. Então, a BVL Vida ela já foi avaliada em 60 milhões pelo Fundo Pátria, né? Por exemplo.
Okay, he said, when you understand precisely about the question, which in his opinion are the best according to growth, he said, the three first one already received good investments. And he said, he gave just an example, BL Vida, which is this startup's first one, received an investment of a famous...
Não investimento, a oferta de investimento. Recebeu a carta oferecendo.
Okay, an offering of investment from important investment fund in Brazil called Patria, when its valuation can be around 60 million of reais. Just for example, this offer, que é só uma oferta, é a carta. Ok,
Isso.
a gente deixei bem claro.
Isso. Essas três, então, são as melhores no sentido de que rapidamente chegarão a 30 milhões e a gente gosta de sair, de fazer o exit, olhando para... Quando a startup tem um valuation de 20 a 30 milhões, a gente entende que é um bom momento de sair.
Okay, and he said, this information is good about these three first startups that he thinks which are the best one. And he said, when those startups reach the valuation of already 30 millions, he said, is the right moment for an exit. Okay.
Isso aí.
That's exciting.
Okay.
No, and I actually have to applaud BLV Vita just for their branding. I actually love their whole branding there. Like I was like, wow, they did really good. It's eye catching. It's very soothing. And then I wanted to know more just from what you guys are talking about. So it's pretty exciting. And I like that it showcases the power your acceleration program did for some of these companies early on that they probably didn't have other outlets for certain type of funding at certain, kind of, I would say, professional team behind them also helping them get to the point where now they got other VCs, bigger VCs, ones that are more of their Series A, Series B level instead of their startup level, their seed level. And I think that showcases the power that us together worldwide investments can really do for startups. And in the world right now, agriculture is going to be an ever growing thing because as more people are growing and more people are being born every day and every year, there's going to be a need for food. And we all know that from the recent problems in Ukraine with Russia, that grain supply that hit, and it was only a small percentage of grain supply, but it was enough to just mess everything up for a little while. And so having other outlets and other companies kind of solve some of these issues, but have the ability from the startup level to access funding to in 10 years from now, that could be one of the next big agricultural companies helping supply the food
Manuel,
for not just Brazil, but the world itself. So, I love big companies that actually see, other things that are going to grow and be healthier for everybody. And then obviously opportunity to make money. So that's obviously awesome. I love it. And with that being said,
Manuel, I agree with you. The situation with the war, Russia and Ukraine, shows to the world how important agribusiness for to people simply keep alive.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And I have a lot of friends in Russia and Ukraine. They said, Geraldo, if Ukraine was not a powerful country in agribusiness, we would be in a worse situation. And Brazil is one of the most powerful countries in agribusiness worldwide. So I agree with you. In this case,
food prices don't go down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like food prices always go up. So regardless, it's like a commodity that is always going to have a healthy price. As the economy gets worse, food it goes more expensive. As the economy gets really good, food doesn't like lower demand. People still eat the crap out of it. They spend more when they have more money. So it's like it's a business that's a safe investment for companies to to invest in. So I think having the way you guys strategically outputted your startups and everything right now, obviously the best performing ones there are great ago and that style business. So I think it's going to be exciting times, especially coming into the bull new investments. I'm really excited. So with that being said, though, kind of the thing that kind of makes most people excited, obviously, is how their investment is going to be good, how it performs overall. So with that being said, what is the usual time for a good ROI on these startup investments?
Yeah, very good question. Mr. Pompeu already answered, but let's give him the opportunity to go a little bit deeply. Basicamente, Pompeu, na sua experiência, qual é o melhor período para exit?
And he already got into it. I'm sorry I might have missed it because I was
into
reading. I was reading your infographic and everything so deep I might have missed it.
Yeah, but it's okay because maybe Mr. Pompeu, with his experience, can explain a little bit more, explain better what's the right time for a good exit according to his experience.
Legal. Vamos lá. É muito comum nessa fase de aceleração a gente trabalhar o ano da aceleração, aquele período de aceleração, e trabalhar depois 3 ou 4 anos de maturação, de apoio a crescimento. Então, nunca acontece um exit antes de 5, 6 anos, se a gente somar esse período total.
Mr. Pompeu said, basically, he started the accelerating program, supporting startups in the first year inside the Cyklo, the hub. And then he said, we need at least 3-4 years more for the startups' growth solidity and providing products and services to the market. And he said, usually, the best time for an exit is more than 4 or 5 years. He said, basically, it's the most expert and best result when you make exit after these 4 or 5 years. Before that, he said, it's not a good idea. Perfeito.
Okay, now, and I agree actually, and that is actually really well for the teams that are coming in and getting part of your acceleration program, because a lot of these other acceleration programs that I've, and I don't want to put no shade on anybody, but I've been a part of a couple of. It's 6 to 8 weeks, of help, and then maybe 6 months, 3 months of support. And after that, you're kind of in the dark unless you pay for a bunch more, services from them, because they're like, well, you've already launched, you already marketed out, but in that short amount of time, there's not really any validation to market. You just because you go to market don't mean you have retention in market, and and growth and scalability. So I think that you're very correct. Having a 1 year incubation basically behind the scenes, real deep into it, but then guidance through a 3 to 4, 5 years after is an extreme value that you don't see in the market from banks or even institutions overall, VCs and everything, putting their investment in these companies. Once they kind of go to market, they're on their own and they tell them, give me my money, kind of type thing. And I think that a lot of people don't know that within the 2 or 3 year span, most of these companies fail because of lack of support and lack of growth, and outlets or communication. Like there's connections that you have that they won't know, they can't think of because they're so stressed out of what they're doing now and overwhelmed. Having that support, I think, is huge. So thank you for explaining that a little bit more now that I kind of didn't have the infographic to read, and I really paid attention there hard. And I like that. I really do think that's going to bring more, hopefully, standard for other investment groups to really say they have a good track record of success. Why? Not because you guys are just picking great companies, but because you guys are supporting the companies through a longer period of time.
Exactly.
So I definitely like that.
Exactly. And I agree with you. A lot of startups died because they don't have, for example, if startups came to the market without a company supporting like Cyklo and other accelerator hubs, the percentage of startup that could die, it's almost 100% of them. Basicamente, ele estava dizendo o seguinte, que uma das coisas que faz o entendimento das startups de fato dar certo é ter no início um bom programa de aceleração, que cuida dos pilares do negócio, ainda que por trás dos bastidores, para depois soltar startups para crescer. Ou seja, você vê como é que o entendimento de aceleração ele é global, né, Pompeu?
Sim.
É muito legal. Okay, guys, do we have more question? Because we would like to ask Pompeu to share the opportunity for example, let's suppose that our community grow and we have good results of those startups in the future. If we could have more startups from his cycle. Basicamente, Pompeu, eu preparei o terreno para dizer o seguinte: com esse track, esse histórico que a gente tem, bem sucedido, se a comunidade a gente conseguir seguir crescendo o negócio e ganhando escala, oportunidades de novos programas de aceleração que você tem, novas startups, novos tools. Você explain a little bit about that, please.
Ok. O que é importante a comunidade entender? O desenvolvimento das startups do agro, ela passa por certas verticais, inteligência artificial, biotecnologia, IoT. Algumas dessas verticais conseguem ter um crescimento escalar no mundo inteiro. Outras verticais ficam muito subordinadas ao funcionamento e à questão política de determinado país, por exemplo, o Brasil.
Okay. Pompeu said, even in the agro sector, you need to understand that we have different solutions. Some solutions came with artificial intelligence. Some solutions came with Internet of Things, IoT. Some Internet come like marketplace and etc. And he said, basically, those kind of solutions can grow fast worldwide. But other case, some startups will be limited for the region and areas, and some culture and bureaucracy for some countries, for example, Brazil.
Por exemplo, uma BVL Vida, o que ela faz se aplica em qualquer terra de qualquer lugar do mundo. Ela revitaliza, dá vida de volta à terra. Então, isso vale para Portugal, para Espanha, para qualquer lugar, né?
Okay. He gave an example, one startup called BL Vida, BLV. Its solution can work in any place in the world, not only Brazil, but it can work in European countries like Portugal, Spain, etc., and any kind of place of the world, because it recovers the capacity of the land to create new seasons of new products. And he gave this example how BL Vida could scale up sharing and his solution not only Brazil, but outside of Brazil as well. Okay?
Perfeito. Outras vão estar mais limitadas, quando eu falo, por exemplo, em inteligência artificial, para trabalhar a parte tributária do agricultor, para trabalhar os impostos dele, que no Brasil é muito importante, talvez não seja tão importante em outro lugar.
Okay, and he gave an important example, for example, BLV that could grow outside of Brazil, but he gave another example of another startup that work with artificial intelligence to support the owner of the property, the farm, to reduce their tax, their government fees. In this kind of situation, the way that the Brazilian government requests the fees taxpayer for the companies is precisely in Brazilian culture and bureaucracy. And he gave, in this case, this solution will be working only specifically in Brazil, way to request the payments of taxes of the owners of the startups. Bacana.
Então eu estou explicando isso para dizer o seguinte: como é que a gente compõe a carteira de cada fundo? A gente mistura vários tipos de solução para não deixar concentrado numa única estratégia.
And he said he chose this strategy to make a mix, not only startups that can grow in Brazil and outside of Brazil, but other startups that can grow precisely in Brazil, because with this way he could spread and split in different areas the pool of startups in each Cyclo pool. For that reason, we have in this case 12 startups in different sectors. Bacana.
No material, depois eles podem ver, eu coloquei do lado biotech, edutech, IoT, então dá essa percepção, né?
And he said in the material that he's going to share with our community, we'll be able to see different segments, IoT, biotech, and etc., just to see the difference of the portfolio of startup solutions.
Falando então do fundo 2, né?
Okay.
O fundo 2 é um fundo para 4 anos.
Okay.
Ele começou a ser vendido no final de 22 e está operando 23, 24, 25 e 26.
Okay, he said about the second pool of startups. In the future, uShark and community decide to have more good startups from here. The second pool starts em 22, né, Pompeu, que começou?
As vendas em 22 e aceleração em 23.
Okay, he said the acquisition of the shares starts in 2022, and the accelerating program starts in 2023 and will be for the next 4 years, nos próximos 4 anos.
Isso.
Okay.
Vai desenvolver 40 startups do agro.
Wow,
e espera 20 boas.
And in this next pool, he said the total of startups chosen will be 40, and then he decide and he have the expectation to have at least 20 of those 40 startups to keep performing a long time.
Isso. Nós vamos atacar principalmente biotecnologia, porque é uma coisa escalável no mundo inteiro.
And he said, desculpa, he will be focused in biotech, because biotech, he said, can grow in anywhere in the world.
E IoT.
And Internet of Things. And another sector of Internet of Things that can also grow in anywhere of the world. Perfeito. Perfeito. Okay, guys.
I got a small comment on that. I think that was wonderful, to really diversify, I think technology within that same industry, right? Because like you're saying, biotech, IoT, being able to have all of these kind of grow in different sections, but under the same envelope kind of allows you to have them kind of cross communicate more comfortably, right? Some of these projects or companies that they have growing, doing similar things, but different kind of tech, they don't really have partnerships or ways that they can kind of communicate. But having you guys as a middleman and you guys have acceleration program, you guys can see how there's value between two different startups and say, hey, you guys have you're doing this, but I see that there's a way you guys can collaborate and through partnerships that are going to help grow and scale you guys yourself. And then also picking technology that not only are going to be great now, but for scalability, like you're saying, for worldwide. Because as much as Brazil's doing, going to be doing great on agriculture, they've always been doing great. That's kind of one of the staples. But there's, like we're saying, there's pain points around the world that these startups can make deals and make partnerships that are going to be able to hopefully alleviate some pain problems in some of these other countries that can't get access to certain foods. So I think it's really great in an overall standpoint. And Brazil, definitely, I know the how it is. You're saying there with bureaucracy. I know how it is for me here in the United States with the bureaucracy, trying to even do half the trading I'm doing in crypto and half the work I'm doing in crypto. I have regulatory hurdles that I'm jumping. So like what you guys are doing to be able to alleviate some of those pain pressures for startups and other companies out there, I think is going to be a huge value. That is a great takeaway for your company. So like, I just wanted to give you good comments and applaud of what you guys are doing, because there's not many people out there that are looking for the betterment of everybody, even though it's a great value for you and the company you're building. A lot of people are kind of selfish on their ideals, and it seems like you're kind of more professional, but really open to helping and grow your own country. And so it's really cool.
Yeah, thank you, Manuel. I agree with your points, and it was important this conversation with the Benjamin, Mario, and our community to share that we are doing pretty well this 3 year. We have a very good TVL with this pool of startups, and we have this solid partnership with Pompeu to keep working with him for a long time. Basicamente, Pompeu, eu falei que você foi um dos principais parceiros que a gente teve nesses 3 anos, e essa parceria, ela não, obviamente, ela tende a se prolongar por um bom tempo. E basicamente acho que era isso. Agora vamos curtir o efeito que isso vai dar, que isso vai deixar a comunidade muito feliz com esse feedback e a oportunidade obviamente, da participação no Fundo 2. E te agradecer. Basicamente, obrigado, Pompeu. Eu sei que, né, sua agenda também é bastante puxada para cuidar desse monte de startups. Obrigado, tá? E não só em nome dos alemães, que são hoje os principais do uShark, mas em nome do que você representou para a gente. Obrigado mesmo. Guys, I'm just thanking, say thanks to Mr. Pompeu to have his time to talk with us, to share his expertise, to talk a little bit about the startups. I would like to thank him in the name of all the uShark community. I would like to thank you also, Benjamin, which the COO and the German partner, which the owner of uShark nowadays. Crypto Eagles, guys, I would like to thank you a professional way. You, Mohammed, Manuel Vasquez, I would like to thank you so much. We really appreciate the way that you are supporting us.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you guys coming and being as transparent. You guys coming on Balance Live, doxing your guys' self to the community just shows another full professional, stance. And then your guys' AMAs have been awesome. We had that first one that we had a little issue, and I was like, man, I really like this project. I hope we get them back on for a better AMA. We got you back on. You showcased it to our community. It was a wonderful hit. I loved it. I loved what you guys are building after that. I was like, really did a lot of research, even depth, in what you guys were doing. And then even today, what you guys kind of presented to the community was like top down professional. You don't get that in the space very often. So I tell this to my community as much as I can, when you have a great product, a great idea, a great vision, and it has a long-term prospects to it, you kind of want to know more about it. But then when you get in really in depth to learn about a strong team that has the same vision and they're building it and they're obviously being as transparent as possible, you kind of want to gravitate towards that, because that, in my eyes, is a winning score. It's called the triple threat, right? Great product, great vision, and a great team can make dreams happen. And that's kind of where crypto is right now. It's at that point where you find these great people that are trying to do something different, that are working hard, and they've kind of been doing it correctly through the bear too, because if you could survive the bear, you deserve the bull. Yeah. That's how I've always kind of mentality been. So I really do appreciate you guys coming, and I always implore all my community, and we're going to be keeping everybody notified of whatever you guys are doing, what you guys are going to be announcing. I tell everybody all the time, though, to make sure you join their socials. If you have any questions or you really want to know more about how these guys have been able to do what they've been able to do, you guys obviously are one of the most transparent people. So jump in their community, ask questions, be a part of it, turn your notifications on Twitter, and really see what they're going to be announcing next, because it's really early, right? The bull market hasn't even really started. The halving hasn't started. The market's just moving. So there's going to be a small retraction in the market. So everybody knows that you hold on, you hold tight, you find your opportunity, you buy in low, and you ride that wave high. And uSharks obviously has something that's going to ride this bull. And if it's a 4 or 5 year project for acceleration, it's going to be in the next bull, right? So, I say good luck.
People will see uShark NFTs and uShark token in Binance very soon.
Let's go. I can't wait.
It'll be a best surprise that we have this year to announce someday also with the Crypto Eagles community. But anyway,
right, and you tell them they heard it here right now. You guys heard it. These guys are building for the long term, and it's not easy to get on Binance. So if they're talking, they're getting on Binance. They want to push for Binance. That right there just shows the commitment the team is trying to get to. Because I know with some teams I've worked with getting on Binance, it took about 6 months for me to get them on Binance, and we were ready at the beginning of that 6 months. But Binance just takes that long effort to make sure that you're a correct team out there. And so I really do appreciate that transparent, a little bit of alpha there with the uShark NFTs. Let's go.
Yes, thank you all people watching this Binance live. Ask me anything. Thank you, Pompeu. Thank you, Benjamin.